when people were being transported from townships into town, and we classify that as a peak hour, or peak 2 hours rather. Every bus I saw, majority of the buses I saw were jamly packed. People were packed like sardines, if you say so. It's a sad moment, and extremely sad, because we are playing with death. You must understand, not majority, but many of our members in the transport sector, especially conductors and
bus drivers,
they have a funny life, not funny, but they have a life where they are found to be caught in a trap starting from 25 years ago, going back. Many of them have been caught up with HIV. We don't know who they are. Everything is private. We every year, once or twice or 3 times, make sure that NGOs come in, Ministry of Health come in, we do testing, we do everything. And we know that there are a few positives. We don't know how many. And I don't want to know. Because they've got a good life now. Before we didn't have ARVs, now they've got a good life and they've got a healthy life. But this virus is such that it attacks mostly, and the most vulnerable people are people whose immune system is weak. And HIV patients are 1, TB are 2, asthmatic are 3, and diabetics are 4. All other respiratory problems are all targets. You are a target, but you're young. If you've got no diseases, you might pull through. I'm old. I'm 58 years old. I'm a target, I'm diabetic. But I'm very vulnerable. So is a driver who has got an ailment, who is not well, in terms of being 100% fully fit, and immune system totally down. My worry is, in fact, my moral, spiritual and religious obligation is to safeguard their lives. And this is exactly what I want to do, with strong, much stronger guidelines from the government. As much as I want to help Mother Zambia and the government, and as much as I want to help everybody, because I know that at the moment the government is between a very hard place and a rock. If it turns this way, it's seeing problems. It's turned this way, it's seeing problems. How does the government work to contain? If you look at all our ministers, cabinet ministers at the moment, they also look exhausted. They are also everywhere trying to educate people, trying to do this, trying to do that. Honorable Chirukia, if you look at him, he looks finished. But he's working hard. Every day he's on it. I don't even if he's sleeping well. Honorable Dorasilia, the same way. Everybody is doing everything they can. But how much can we do to save a life? How much? We have seen what is happening in America. We have seen what is happening in
but really, I wanted you to give me an outlook of, on the business aspect of things, how, this will entail the aspect of the fact that, business now should be halted as prescribed by the Minister of Health, that there should be a limited number. I love the fact that you've said as of today, when you saw business was as usual, people were getting in full capacity, and business continued as usual every day. But really, before you can give me an outlook, you mentioned something very important, Mr. Kankara. You mentioned the fact that there hasn't been adherence, by the people that drive buses and the conductors to ensure that what the minister spoke about is implemented. Now let me come to you.
I guess it's very important that your viewers understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, Mr. Kankara.
The minister advised us to make sure that there is only 60% capacity of passengers.
Indeed.
We put up that immediately, that measure.
Yes.
Unfortunately, drivers are not listening.
Adherent to it.
You get my point?
Yes.
We have reduced our cash-in by nearly half, which is devastating. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is why I use the word bad, devastating, and tomorrow it will be catastrophic.
Exactly.
Stages.
Yeah.
At the moment we are on we were already, you see, we have stopped our capital expenditure. We don't have the money to go and buy new buses or spares or do this or do that. We have reserved a little bit of money for their pay for the next 2 months, in case something serious happens. This is what I've done as a company.
Yeah.
Now, you keep insisting obviously on the business, and this is what this program is all about.
Yeah.
Business is pathetic at the moment, in simple terms. But we are not worried about that at the moment. We are worried about the cardinal point, which is to save lives.
Yeah. All right.
How to make sure that the lives of my workers, who are very, very important to me, and who are also extremely important to the economy, because if you know, the transport sector, both goods and passenger, is the backbone of the economy.
Indeed.
It's about the name game which is going on at the moment.
Indeed.
And being on one platform. As I was talking, when Ebola had arose in Africa, did you see the world saying, no, this is an African disease? Did you see people in the United States of America looking at an African and saying, you brought this disease, or you've got a disease in your country? Why should we have that here? You get my point here?
Yeah.
Disease doesn't see who you are, whether you are an Indian or Zambian, Pakistani or Chinese or white, it doesn't see that. And this disease especially. Because you cannot say it's a poor man's disease. You get my point?
Yeah.
Presidents have had it. Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Prince Charles.
Prince Charles got it. The future king.
Yeah.
You know? The tycoons have got it. Actors have it. Everybody has it. So what I'm trying to say is, let's not fight and make our, put our efforts in fighting who did this and who brought this and what and what and what. And this is exactly what is our social media is doing right now. Not the proper media. Obviously not, because you guys are always accountable anyway. The social media is doing that, and a few people in our community are joining on the bandwagon and making silly comments. Let's stop it. Because let me give you a typical example. You are by the river, and you've got a child, and a mother and father are there, and then you've allowed the child to go near the river, and then you go into an argument over something silly, and then you're arguing, and you don't realize your child has gone into the river and started drowning. And it has drowned, and the child has died. Who is stupid? Who is stupid? I would say the parents are stupid, both mother and husband, father, both. They're stupid. Why? Because over a silly thing they went on arguing and they left concentration on the child. The same way, if we're going to keep fighting, Kuti is a white person, it's a black person, it's a Chinese person, it's a Mongolian person, it's an Indian person, it's a Pakistani person, we are actually forgetting what to do. So let's get on one platform. If you are an opposition political party and you're going to say, no, if PF does this because it's in the ruling government, we are going to do this. If PF says no, it's because this government, this opposition political party has said so, we can't do it. Forget all that. Internal politics, please, for God's sake. Internal blaming, please, for God's sake, stop it. On one platform, we have one government, it is ruling us, let's assist it in full. Now, coming to the point of economic fallback on the people of Zambia, I fully understand. But you tell me, young man Andrew, would you want to live today? Would you want to live and see your old age and be a grandfather to your grandchildren? You would, wouldn't you?
I would.
Okay. 14 days won't kill you. 21 days won't kill you. But this carelessness we have at the moment might kill you. Which would you choose?
I'll choose to isolate myself.
Thank you. You have answered my question. Let's not look at the economic damage on everybody. I have already said it. I've got 240 buses. I've got nearly 600-700 people depending on my company. I am more worried about them than my company. If I go bankrupt, I don't care. I swear on God I don't. Because as far as I'm concerned, a life is more sacred than any luxury in life. Any other issues apart from a person's living. Because if, for example, Mr. Tembo is quarantined in his house for 14 days, he is not going to die. He's already bought his bag of hunga. He's already got his cooking oil. He's already got his salt. He doesn't even need to come out. He doesn't need to go and buy fresh vegetables because anga fake kaira mnyumba. Kaira inga sevenze, kapenda isevenze. Not you could do and put a tomato every day. You can do without tomato. You will not die. But if this virus has come on this chair and you have sat on it in a minibus, you will die. So choose. This is why I'm advocating for state of emergency. Now, assuming we do have a state of emergency, and assuming the government, I know it's very hard for them, but assuming they make that decision, and it's a bit late.
But Mr. Kankara, for me, you sound as if they are speaking for an average middle earning Zambian that could manage to, keep something for himself for the past 14 days. What about those, Mr. Kankara?
Coming to, you see, you can't be
Those
sure.
those cowboys that depend kind of a station, but flash your flash bus and then get something out of. What happens to them?
This is what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
You see, you don't understand. Okay, would you want them dead?
I wanted to say. Sorry, I wanted to say.
No, hang on. I'm coming to that. There are strategic policies put in place afterwards. Like, for example, the World Bank can come in, the IMF can come in, the other business partners can come in, the corporate world can come in. How are you going to feed our people? The needy. Because probably you have a bank account, you can release money, go and buy some food. He might be able to do it, I might be able to do it, others might not.
Yeah.
That part can come later. Immediately, and you see, let me tell you something. I don't know if you have heard the word, that you don't die of hunger for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Because your body fat will sustain you up to that. You might get weak, you might do that, you might do that. I'm not saying that we must keep people hungry for that amount of days. We have had enough time to stock ourselves. I know the poor might have a serious problem. This is why we need to start working to differentiate who will be able to afford and who will not be able to afford.
Sorry,
Because I choose
wanted to say
life.
something.
Yeah.